Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. Over the, 4 years that we've been making videos, we've made somewhere around 1,500. And there are certainly some topics that we've talked about more than once, but this is one of those topics I can't believe we've never done a video about before. Today we're going to talk about the most important measurement of the battleship. So is it that the ship is 108 feet wide so she can fit through the Panama Canal? Like that was like the starting design point with the ship. Is it that she's 887 foot long? Is it the 16-inch guns? No, it's none of that. The most important measurement on the battleship is 26 inches. I'll give you a minute to think about that. So for the last 2 weeks, the Navy down at the Inactive ship's maintenance facility here in Philadelphia let us on board 4 of the vessels there to strip parts off of. This happens usually about once a year. We've talked about that sort of stuff in the past. When these ships are about to be towed out for final disposal, whether that's foreign sale or scrapping or a SINK-X, they'll let big Navy come on board and take the parts that they need as spares. They'll let foreign navies come on board and take the parts that they need. And then they'll let museum ships come on board and take stuff that we need. So we spent something like 7 or 8 full work days on the 4 ships that they opened up that are going to be moved out soon to make room for more ships coming in, probably more Ticonderogas and Freedom-class LCSs. And we were able to get a lot of stuff that's going to help us open some new spaces that I've had on my list. But for various reasons, we're missing equipment, and so there's just a trip point at foot level or a hole in the deck where a piece of equipment was supposed to be mounted. And this was probably our most successful, they call it an open house. In the field, we colloquially call it a strip trip. This was probably our most successful strip trip that we've been on in terms of showing up with a list of, hey, I know now that we're missing these parts from Chief's Mess. Where can we find them? I know that we're missing this from aft plot that we want to open up soon. Where can we get it? And so we were able to find all that stuff. And more importantly, we are not supported with any laborers, with any cranes, anything like that. Anything we take off, we have to be able to disassemble with hand tools and carry off the ship by hand and then load it in one of our staff's cars to get it back here to the battleship. I have to say it was way more convenient last year when we did this, when the ship was in dry dock and we could literally pick it up on one end of the pier and carry it down to the battleship and put it back on board. It was so convenient. It was worth everything else. So one of the big things that we got that I'm super excited about is the DRT here, the Dead Reckoning Tracer. So in aft plot, which we want to open up, there's this big, like 4 foot by 4 foot hole in the deck. And what should be there is the Mark 48 Rangekeeper, a shore bombardment computer that was added in the 1950s. Well, actually, the aft one was added during Vietnam in 1968. Anyway, ours isn't there anymore. There were a finite number made, and there aren't any in existence that aren't already on a museum ship that should have them. But during World War II, what used to occupy that space was a DRT. And they would have used that for some of the Proto Shore bombardment calculations that they were doing before they had developed a computer. So we were able to strip one. This is the top half. There's a bottom half around here somewhere. Unfortunately, it's not like IKEA furniture where it's labeled so you know how it all goes back together. And all the fasteners are in little Ziploc bags with the Allen key with them. But I'm super excited to get this on board. We got a bunch of stuff for Chief's Mess. We got some parts that go up in CEC or CIC. We got the missing surface search radar repeater for the '08 bridge so that we can open that at some point in the future. That was the last major piece of equipment we were looking for. But the key is that we were able to get all of this off of the ship. And the reason we were able to do that is because of the most important measurement. And this is something that's not just particular to the battleship. Like, obviously they start with 108 foot wide beam because it'll fit through 110 foot wide Panama Canal, and then you do all your math from there, how long it's got to be, how deep it's got to be, what size guns you're going to put on there. But this most important measurement has to do with every ship in the fleet. That's 26 inches, which is the width of a standard watertight door. So let's say you've got a battleship like New Jersey that's going to serve off and on from 1943 to 1991. And during that time, she's going to go through several serious upgrades of parts. Things are going to break, things are going to be damaged, things are going to be replaced because they're old. You've got to be able to disassemble it, carry it off, and bring the new one in. And most of this stuff has to be done by hand. There's certainly some stuff down like along Broadway where you can sling it up on the yellow rail. But what about the stuff that goes in a stateroom on the O2 level? You might be able to get a crane to lower it to the O2 level, but then it has to be carried inside the ship. So all the doors on the ship are 26 inches wide, which means that all the equipment breaks down to 24 inches wide, so that you've got enough room to fit the equipment through a door with an inch on each side for your fingers to spare. And so we were able to get a tremendous amount of furniture, a new desk for our admiral's cabin, some display cases that were in the wardrooms on some of these ships that we're going to now put artifacts of the battleship in. The tables for chief's mess that we've been missing, all this sort of stuff. We were able to unbolt it from the deck, break it down into smaller pieces, like the DRT wouldn't fit out in one piece, but we were able to carry it out in two pieces. And we were able to get it here, and now over the next couple of weeks, the volunteers are going to start moving this stuff up onto the ship. We're below our south tower right now on the pier because we get over there first thing in the morning. We spend 8 hours taking parts off the ship. We then have to carry it the length of the ship and down onto the pier, throw it into a truck. Then we get over here. We've already been working for 8 or 9 hours, and we're just beat. So we leave it out here on the pier undercover. So over the next week, we'll start gradually moving this stuff up to the ship. Some of it is spare parts that'll go down in a storage space for as things go missing or break or whatever. We've got one because we can't just find that on the open market. And then other stuff we're going to start to take down to aft plot, this DRT, reassemble it in place, and then that space will be ready to open up. So whenever you're thinking about Navy ships, make sure you keep in mind that 26-inch rule. Things have to be 26 inches on at least one side so that they can go through. And there are some other measurements with that they can fit in ladderways and things like that. But 26 inches, most important measurement on the battleship. Do you agree with that? Let us know in the comment section down below if you think the 16-inch guns is more important or fitting through the Panama Canal. We'll argue about it online. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to donate to support the museum. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about the museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.